Hi again then guys, and welcome to another installment of Ultimate Exotics on Forza Horizon 3, and this time we're talking about one of my favourite exotics in the game. And of course I'm going to be biased when it comes to a vehicle that I love, but as I always do, even with cars that I do or don't like, I try to be as objective as possible, don't overplay or underplay a car just because of my personal feelings toward it, and the vehicle in question is, straight up, my dream car. The Ferrari FF. Now, this car is very niched, even in the supercar category, which is already quite a friendly place, if you will, for oddball vehicles. This kind of stands on its own. It has some rivals, the Nissan GTR, you could say, the Aston Martin Rapide even, but if you really think about it, there's not much which rivals the FF in terms of all-round ability and all-round packaging. Again, the Tesla, the Model S P100D or the P90D could be considered a rival, but even then, not really. There aren't that many shooting brakes around on the market. They tend to be speciality cars or customs or one-offs, whereas the FF is a production car. And I've kind of touched on my love for the FF before. It's the single car that made me respect Ferrari and actually made me have an interest in the brand, to the point where now, as I said, it's my dream car. But with all that being said, and as brilliant as the FF is in real life, one of the best performance cars ever made, I would say, in terms of all-round ability, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good on a game, because many of the advantages which it has, such as practicality, are irrelevant, because it's a racing game. So let's break it down in that objective way and compare it to the other cars in this kind of category of exotics to see how good it really is in the game. Well, first of all, as always, we have the handling, and as much as I would love to give this car perfect fives in every way, that's just not the way it is. I have to be objective, and so I'm going to give it a 4. The all-wheel drive is fantastic. It works extremely well from a company that has never made an all-wheel drive car before, surprisingly well in fact, and the car is a pleasure to work with. It's very beginner friendly despite its massive size and very, very heavy weight, but it has to be said, in any other category I would have given it a 5, but in the supercar category, well, it wouldn't be worthy of a 5, because there are quite simply vehicles with better, sharper, more responsive handling, and it wouldn't be fair to those cars to give this one a perfect 5. So I am giving it a 4, because it's great to work with, but it can definitely be out-handled by other supercars. As far as acceleration goes though, I am going to give it a full 5, and one of the reasons why is, with these scores I take into account not just the car's tuned performance, but stock as well, and the simple fact is the FF can outrun many of the other supercars in the game off the line, because not only is it all-wheel drive, which is a huge advantage, but you've got 7 gears to work with and 650 horsepower. It's a supercar, don't be fooled by the wagon shape, it is very much so a supercar, and it shows it. Off the line, there's not much which can keep up with it in fact in this kind of category, and those which can tend to also be all-wheel drive. When it's tuned it just gets even quicker, and even then, although it's not the most powerful of cars in this kind of class, it can give pretty much anyone a good battle. For top-end speed though, it's a slightly different story, because it's not bad. It can actually outrun a lot of other cars which you might expect to be quicker. Something like an Aston Martin 177, for instance, is slower than the FF, and so is the Aston Martin Vulcan for that matter. But it's far from being the fastest in the class, so I'm going to give it a 4 overall, because again, it just wouldn't be fair to act as though it's a full 5 when it simply isn't. The top-end speed is over 200 stock even, so again, it's strong enough to go up against other supercars in their stock forms, generally speaking. As far as value for money as well, I'm going to give it another 4, because although the price is actually very good for a supercar, 250 grand or thereabouts, again, there are better vehicles, faster vehicles that is, for a similar price. You've got your Ultimas, your Nobles, and the simple fact is, they offer huge performance for the same price, whereas this car is very good for the price. It's just not on the same level. So again, it just wouldn't be fair. And finally, for the usability which the car has, I'm going to have to give it the lowest score of the bunch, unfortunately, with a 3. And it's painful to be that honest about this car, because as brilliant as it is in real life, it's just not as competitive on the game, in any game for that matter, as I would love it to be. But overall, it's not a bad score by any means that I'm giving this car, because, as a tabulation of the 5 categories put together, I am giving the FF a score of 80. But that's it for this pick overall. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, thanks for watching.